All right. Hello, Michelle. How are you doing?
I'm fabulous. How are you, Otto?
Excellent, excellent. So, what time of the day you have there?
It is 11:05 in the morning on Friday.
11:05. Okay, we have 10:05. So we have a nearly what is it? 11 hours shift. We have
Yes.
already night. Excellent, excellent. Well, where do you live, Michelle? Where is it?
I live in Kauai, which is in the Hawaiian Islands. And the island that I live on is known as the Garden Isle because it's predominantly covered by nature.
Wow. Is that jungle behind you?
This is, I guess you could call it kind of farmland. The jungle is a little bit further back.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. Now we actually lost your the contrast on
Oh,
you.
hold
Yeah,
on.
there we go.
Back.
Yeah, you're back. Well, it was beautiful to see that the contrast,
Oh,
the
glad you got to
beautiful
see
blue
it.
sky. But now we have a light on you. Well, Michelle, would you introduce yourself? I know you from Facebook for maybe 2 years, and I have been following your very inspirational post for around 2 years, I presume. Would you tell something about you? Because your story was also the Midlands, somewhere in USA, and you went to the Hawaii for adventure. Would you tell us something about it?
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about it, and if you want to know more, I'd be happy to share because it is quite a long story. But basically, I'd say it was about 4 years ago, maybe four and a half. I had just gotten out of a long term relationship and I was in just a dead end job. It was sucking my soul, and I'd reached a breaking point where I could no longer compromise on myself or my dreams. And I was living in Philadelphia, which is on the east coast of the United States. For people that are not familiar, it's about 2 hours outside of New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the intuitive hit that I should move back home, which was crazy at the time because I was 28 and I'd been on my own for 10 years. And I thought, why would I want to go backwards and go home? But it just felt right. So I listened to my intuition because a lot of the times we're taught to be really practical and logical, and it seemed totally absurd, but it was such a strong feeling that I listened to it. So I moved back home, and I was sleeping on the basement couch of my mother's place. And I didn't have a car because I was in the city, and it was a huge change from city life to suburbia again. And anyway, long story short, I stayed there for 2 years on the basement
Mm-hmm.
couch until I got super clear on what I wanted, because I was clear about what I didn't want, but I was confused and I kept continuing in the same cycles and patterns. And so I reached a breaking point one night and I surrendered and said, listen, universe, God, the divine, I just want to be of service. I just want to do good in the world, and it's got to be something that I'm passionate about. So I ended up getting an internship for a personal development company based out of Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
and then that led into a paid position. And then 7 months after I got clear and I surrendered and I got in with the right people, which is key as well, I
Yes.
literally went from the basement couch of Philadelphia to Kauai, living on one of the most beautiful islands in the world and working online and doing what I love, which was a radical shift to believe that you could go from that environment to this. But it
Wow.
happened. Wow. And yeah, so now what I do is I help others to do the same. I'm a business and lifestyle guide for conscious creators, people that are artists and healers and coaches that have these divine gifts within themselves, but they're just not sure how to really package it together and make a living off of it. So that's what I do now, and I work with people all over the world so that they can have the kind of freedom, abundance, and joy that they want in their life as well.
That's very interesting, and I believe that in these days we have this huge contrast. We have all these books and all these motivational speakers, and we already follow a lot of people who are doing that. And the question is, you know, when is my turn? Will I wait for that another breaking point? Will I wait until the lotto and the lottery will hit me with a wealth, or will I create a lifestyle now? What would you recommend to the people who are on that transition point when they are not happy with their lifestyle. They know they could do better, but they are like just hesitant or afraid of the change, fear of success, fear of failure.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, myself included, I needed to hit rock bottom. And that really forced me to make a change. So a lot of the times we'll put up with things that we can tolerate until eventually we can't do it anymore and we freak out and there's just no other way. That's one way to go about it. Or you could kind of stop some of the pain and suffering and just take action now, because the time is never going to be right, ever. You just need to start today and start taking action one step at a time. And what that does is that sends a clear signal to the universe of what you desire. And the universe is like, okay, that's what you want. I'm going to start to co-conspire to help you to do that. But if you don't make a conscious decision of what you desire, then you end up losing by default, because I believe there's two ways that you create, either unconsciously or consciously. So most people are just walking around in a daze and following the motions. They're just going along. They're always busy distracting themselves. And then there's people that take the reins back in their life. They take their power back and they connect with their inner vision and their purpose, and they start to take action. So what I would say is to start today in some way. Who can you reach out to? What can you do to start to get the momentum going? Because the hardest part is getting started. And it's kind of like if you're running on a trail, which I love to do. That's a great training for me psychologically that I infuse into my business and my work is, you know, in the beginning, some of these trails are just straight up, you know, from the beginning. And it's like 10 minutes of going up this steep mountain and it's hard. But once I get going, about 10, 15 minutes in, it feels good. Yeah. And it's easier to keep going. And then I'm running by the end of the run. That's a metaphor for your life and your goals. It's a little bit hard to start in the beginning, but once you get that momentum going, you keep going. You don't stop. It's hard to stop. If you're on a trail and you're near the edge of a cliff and you stop and you don't keep the momentum going and believing in your next movement, then that's where you could slip and fall.
Well, that's a very good metaphor, and I actually relate to it myself in a lot of a gym type of thinking, how to get results. It's hard to start, create the momentum. First you feel the soreness. You don't feel first how fit you get. You first bring the stress to the body. That's the challenge. So very interesting. And how it all started? How come you got into this type of business?
How did I get into this? I guess it picked me. It's been a lifelong progress. I never thought that this is what I would be doing. A lot of the times we think we're going to do one thing and it ends up being another. I know as a small child, I always wanted to sing and act and dance in some form. Mm-hmm. And what I found is those things still play a part in what I do today, just not in the way that I thought when I was 8 years old. So the way that I got into this is I just started listening to my inner voice. So when I tried to follow the ways of others and do what society thought I should, it didn't work for me. I suffered a lot. I didn't have high energy. I had a lot of limiting negative beliefs. And then eventually after your life sucks, you're like, okay, well, that's not working. I've got to try something else. I'm going to listen to myself. And so I just started listening to little things like eating healthier. I stopped eating, this was like 15 years ago. I stopped eating processed foods. I stopped eating artificial, foods, flavors, and started eating more local, organic. And then I felt a result from that was positive. And so it was the same thing with my businesses. By doing all of that, it gave me such great results that I wanted to help others to do the same, because I believe that it doesn't matter the cards that you're dealt, where you've come through, whatever you're going through, that you have the power to create the life that you want. And it's just about starting to listen to these inner signals within ourselves and then acting on that. And then you can gauge where your intuition is on and where it's off, and really start to trust in yourself. And you'll find that each step is revealed along the way. And that's how I got to be where I'm at today, is just by following my inner voice and guidance.
Okay, so, for that perspective of listening to the intuition and so on, for many people, they still are materialistic thinkers versus those who goes extreme spiritual and all these kind of channelings and stuff. So how would you kind of bring it into the kind of like a healthy center of these two extremes, being too materialistic thinking, too extreme into spirituality? How would you meet that into practical applications of what you actually said about intuition?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's good that you brought that up because a lot of people struggle with that, and I speak with them. And I consider myself a very grounded person, yet I have a nice spiritual flair to me as well. And that could be environment. I came from living in a city for a long time, so I was in touch with that reality where there was a lot of crime and violence. But so this could apply to everyone. I would say that, I did a lot of deep searching in my 20s where I did get involved in some of these different religious sects, but I wouldn't call them myself religious.
Mm-hmm.
I just was exploring to see what was out there, and I would take a little bit of this and it take a little bit of that, and what didn't work for me I would dispose of it, and I found that there were some great truths within that worked for me. So I would say to anyone out there to take what works for you and discard the rest, and to realize that, we're in a body for a reason. So if we were meant to just be meditating all day and be these spiritual beings, we wouldn't be here in this reality. This is a different dimension. So we need to do earthly things like pay our bills and our taxes and eat healthy food. And a lot of spiritual people forget to do that, and their energy levels are low, or they're broke all the time. Or there's people on the opposite end that are so hungry for money and power that they forget about having compassion and living from the heart and looking at each person as valuable. So I think that part of it is just my life experience of getting exposed to all of those worlds and doing my own inner searching. And for someone out there that's looking to, kind of balance the two, just keep in mind that we have worldly obligations and to take care of those things. And I don't believe that making money is unspiritual or charging for your services is at all. That's old paradigm stuff. That just supports you and allows you to do more service. And I help people with my coaching to work through these blocks and limitations. And once you do that, it's like you're in spirit form, but you're also able to be supported by these worldly means. So that's a really deep topic that we could go more into. But for right now, I hope that would be helpful to someone that's looking to kind of bridge the two. And I think the last thing I would say around that is to always be yourself, because a lot of people will try and follow others or apply this method and think that if they do that, they're going to reach this sense of enlightenment and that they'll be loved and accepted because they ate a certain way or they meditated at a certain time. And that's really not the case at all. It's about being a good human being and becoming more of who you are, not trying to follow anyone else, maybe admiring them, but being more of your authentic self.
Yeah, well put. So how do you work with your clients, and how do they actually find you? Do you have a website? And how does it work if one wants to work with a coach?
I do have a website, and right now I'm just working one-on-one with people privately. I do have plans to put out a group program later on, probably this year, that'll be around working through the inner blockages, which is your self-sabotaging behavior, your limiting beliefs, because it's an inner game that you've got to get sorted out first. You can do all this business stuff, but if you haven't worked out the inside stuff, am I worthy? Am I good enough to do this? You're going to sabotage. So that'll come later on. But for right now, I have people that come to me generally word of mouth, or they'll find me on social media like Facebook, a referral, and I invite them to apply for a breakthrough discovery session, which is a complimentary telephone session. And I take you through 3 areas of your life. I help you get clarity on what your goals are over the next few months. and to see where you're at currently, what's not working, what's missing, and then what are the biggest things that are blocking you and stopping you, so that we can custom create a plan with tools and strategies to help you achieve that. So if anyone's interested in working with me, they can apply for a discovery session. I'll review your application, and based off of that, if you qualify, we can talk and see if it's a fit. And if it is, then we can see if working together long term, short term. Sometimes people like to do a VIP day with me. So it just depends on where that person is at in their life and or their business. And the way that you can find me is to go to my website. It's michellepierson.net. That's MichellePierson.net.
Cool. Michelle, if you don't mind to actually tilt the monitor towards you, because now we have a black face but beautiful background. So let our listeners, viewers actually can see you as well.
How's that?
Maybe a little bit lower as well, so it doesn't flip back again. Now you have a great light on your face.
Oh, let me see. Hold on, let me move this chair a little bit. Hold on a second.
It's cool.
And then I could be a little bit lower.
That's fine.
Okay.
It's good. It's good now. Yeah, perfect. Well, what are you really passionate about? I've seen lots of trail running and working from the beach and beautiful nature, swimming in the ponds, in the mountain streams. What is your passion, really? You mentioned singing, dancing.
Yeah, I'm passionate about being alive. It's such a gift to be alive, and so many people have given their power away, and they're settling for this life or this relationship or this job that they don't enjoy. And I lived in that reality for a long time, and it brought me much suffering and pain, which led to a lot of joy because I went through that. But you don't really need to bash yourself up that much. And what I'm passionate about is doing things that help others to realize their greatest potential, because that was done for me. I could have just been another cog in the wheel and become this kind of robot, and I got the right guidance and support from mentors and from peers and colleagues that continue to help me to grow and expand today. And so I'm very passionate about helping other people to do the same, because I've said it earlier that I don't think that it matters where you've come through or where you've come from, where you're born, what you've been through in life. It's about where you're going, what your intentions are, and your desires. And anyone that is really up for doing the work and is up for the challenge, I love to support and guide them so that they can experience more joy and bliss and freedom and abundance, because I believe change comes from within. It's not about going out there and saving the world and changing other people. You notice that when you start to change yourself, your reality gets altered, and all those things that annoyed you and the people that frustrated you seem to disappear, because it's an inner game that's really going on. So I love working with people in that sense, and that includes having fun in life and not taking yourself too seriously and allowing your inner child to play, and then infusing that joy into your business, which is your sole purpose in the world. And it really creates change in that sense. So I love to do things that are nature oriented. I feel like the one, God, the divine, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is really in nature, and that's where we come from. And we've gotten so far removed from that we get sick and we get disconnected, and that's when illness comes up in many forms, physical, mental, all of that. And the closer that we are to source, which is nature, and living a natural lifestyle, the more joy we can experience of being alive, and the more that we can help others to do that as well, so that they can really experience and appreciate this gift of being alive.
That was beautiful what you said.
Thank you. I don't even know what I said. It just comes through and I just say it.
Yeah, it's really beautifully said, because this is so much of a human suffering on a planet, is that we are so disconnected to the nature, so we actually pumping out millions of cubic liters of toxin chemicals and polluting the soil, the air, the water, killing lots of animals just so some people can get obese. while there's an imbalance in the kind of getting too much and too little, like Africa versus USA, for example. So, well, maybe, if we have more great wise leaders in our politics or government or some kind of leadership organizations, well, maybe they would think about a more harmonious way of living, not just for profit, but actually for joy's co-creation.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I think that once we start to do the inner work on ourselves, that we don't really need to look outside of ourselves for people to kind of show us the way they can guide us, which is what I love to do. I love to empower people. I'm not the guru, you're the guru. You need to be the guru of you. Yeah. And it's great to kind of see what people have done that you look up to that have gotten the results that you want, and then start to apply that in your life. But if you're listening to somebody that is giving you health advice and they don't look healthy, or they're giving you business advice and they don't have a successful business, why would you continue to listen to these people? So if you're following after people that are unhappy and that are not taking care of themselves, it just doesn't make any sense. You're going to continue to get those results. So you really want to model yourself after people that are getting the results that you want and apply that in your life, and then you end up becoming the guru of yourself.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Would you have some... All right, Michelle, I have another couple of really interesting questions. Would you be up for some type of cooperation with other professionals, or you are more like a solo girl, or you have a vision of bringing your business to the kind of bigger business? How do you see yourself in your profession? And thanks to the social media and possibility to connect with so many people, would you be up for some cooperations?
Yeah, so I love doing my own thing with my own business, because that gives me the freedom to just do what I want in the creative style that I like. But I also love collaborating as well. So there's several other projects that I'm involved in right now with other entrepreneurs where we're working on things too. So I do a combination of both. I love working one-on-one with people. I'm going to be doing group things as well, so that I can leverage my time and energy, because working one-on-one can really burn you out if that's all that you're doing. And I do love collaborating with my colleagues as well, and creating programs and being a part of projects that really, create change and help raise awareness and consciousness.
When you say awareness, raise the awareness of what? That conscious creation on themselves, bigger reality.
Yeah, when I say awareness and consciousness, I talk about raising your own. So normally a lot of these patterns and cycles that we are caught up in are because they're unconscious, or we're kind of aware of them, but we don't really know how to break out of them. So when we work with other people, like a coach, I can help you to see those blind spots and to see where you're sabotaging, and to bring more awareness, more light to that area of your life. And once you know better, you do better. So when someone says, okay, you want to get more clients, but yet you're not taking any action to do that. Yeah. Well, of course you're not going to get any clients. Oh, well, why am I not doing that? And then we get to the root of that. So it's just about bringing more awareness and consciousness within yourself. And I believe that when you do that, it starts to raise the consciousness of others in the world as well. So the change starts from within.
Yeah. You're totally right on this one. How to overcome those patterns? Is there some shortcut? As people like shortcuts, is there some just the this is how it is, or it's flexible? How would you describe that breaking of patterns? Because it's kind of like a very wide term. Would you be able to explain this a little bit into more details? How we can get rid of the addictions and patterns which self-sabotage? For example, those patterns we built as a child, as a kids, and they are so subliminal, so subconscious that we don't even know we have them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. A lot of these are subconscious, and they could come from this lifetime. If you believe in past lives, it could come from your family lineage. It could come from the culture. So when I work with people one-on-one, I have customized tools where we'll actually go into that. But for right now, for someone that's watching and they want to know, hey, how can I break this pattern or this habit? Something general that I always offer is, to create space for it to leave. So let's say you want to become healthier with your exercise routine. You want to work out more. Then you need to create space for that to happen, because I'm a big believer in universal law. And when we follow those universal laws, they can create miracles for us above the law that we deal with in this realm. There's other laws as well. And so whenever you create space in your life, it creates a vacuum, and something else has to come in to take its place. The problem is people will take one bad habit away and replace it with another bad habit. Mm-hmm. And the reason why they do that is because they're not mindful of what they're doing. So, they stop smoking cigarettes, but then now they're drinking more, or yeah, exactly. Right. So, And where I come from, this was, over 10, maybe 13 years ago. I had my own addictions. I was like, I've partied enough for 10 lifetimes, and I've had struggles with food in the past. I had anxiety, severe anxiety, depression. I had all sorts of stuff. So I've dealt with my fair share of that. And it's really about coming up with a routine that is more empowering. So if you decide that you're going to exercise, that you really create a structure. Okay, how many days am I going to start off to begin with? Keep it simple so that it's attainable. Don't set the bar so high when you're in this inspired state. I'm going to work out 5 days a week. And then, the next day comes along, you're not feeling that great. And it's like, whoa, how am I ever going to accomplish that? Start off in baby steps. So maybe you're going to work out 2 days a week. And then what are the structures that you're going to create in your life so that if a friend calls you up and says, hey, let's go out to this place, or let's go do this. And you say, no, I've already committed to this goal and I'm going to replace it with that. So it's really about saying yes to your dreams and your visions more so than saying no, because in each moment you're either saying yes or you're saying no to your dreams. So you want to be saying yes more often than not. And the more that you can create the space for these new habits to take shape and you start to get the momentum going, eventually it'll fit into your lifestyle and you won't even think about it again. You just work out all the time, and there's no question about it. So with breaking habits and breaking patterns, it's first about becoming aware of what they are, and then coming up with something healthy or positive that's going to, take place of that negative, or whatever you want to call it, belief or action, and then being consistent with it and following it through, and then getting support from people that are going to hold you accountable, like a mentor or a coach or a mastermind group of people that are really aiming for what you are, because I believe that we're the sum total of the, let's say, 5 to 7 people that you hang out with most. So if you're hanging out with people that don't aspire to the things that you want, it's really easy to get thrown off track. I know for me, I can get swayed easily, not so much as when I did in the past. I've become really hardcore about it, but it's imperative that you have the right people to surround you so that when you have these visions, they don't think that you're crazy or project their own limitations or your beliefs onto that. So just to go back to your original question around how to break these patterns, is to first bring awareness and then come up with some sort of positive habit or mindset to take place of that, and then get the support to follow through.
Well, great. Well said. Yeah. Would you have some message to the people? Let's dramatize the situation. Imagine you have the last 5 minutes of life. Is there a message to the world?
Yeah, like the gun to the head. What are you gonna say? Yeah, what I would say is that I believe that life is a gift and it's yours to use in the way that you desire, and you're never going to be happy by trying to people please, because there's 7 billion people on the planet. People are going to not like you just by the way that you winked or the t-shirt that you have on. It's just the kind of culture that we live in. There's a lot of judgment. And when you can really go within and get a connection to your source and get empowered by being out in nature and eating healthy foods and meditating and deep breathing and being of service and solving problems in the world, that really makes you super strong to be able to deal with anything and to be able to do what you want. So always follow your joy. Your joy knows the way. And I used to get ridiculed as a child from my well-meaning mother about playing too much and from friends and family about, the dreams that I aspired to live. And those people don't really mean it in a negative way. It's just all that they know with their own limitations. So always listen to your own inner voice and follow your joy. It may not logically make sense, but we do live in a nonlinear world. Just like I went from the basement couch to living in Hawaii, that was 4 years ago. I've been living my dream life since, helping people all over the world to do this. It is possible. Don't allow excuses or limitations. Oh, I don't have the right schooling, or I don't have the right this. That's all BS. As long as you align with your vision and source, magic will happen. The right people, the right opportunities, the right situations will come to you. You need to believe that it's possible. You need to show up every day, take action, never give up, and never take yourself too seriously, and have a lot of fun.
Very good, very good. Michelle, what is your age, if it's not top secret?
Well, my physical body says that I'm 33, but I feel like I'm about 3 because I really love connecting with kids because they love to have fun. They're tapped into the joy. They're tapped into, God's source, the universe. So I feel, like a child at heart. I love doing those sort of things, but my physical body is 33, but I don't feel like it at all. I feel better than I've ever felt in my entire life.
Well, I must say, not many 70, 80 years old ladies has wisdom of yours.
Oh, thank you.
So you gain lots of quality into that young body.
Yeah, I have to say, if you're up for the journey and you really want to go on your own hero's journey, then you can cultivate the wisdom and the belief and the intuition, but you've got to really be up for it. And when you choose a path like this, which is basically carving your own path, there is no formula to follow. You can get guidance from others, but ultimately it's one of the greatest tests because it's a test of faith. It's a test of believing in yourself. And I have such a diverse background of life experience. I mean, if I even told you, you'd laugh at it. Someone told me that they should make a film about it, the kind of things that I put myself into. But that's because that I love the adventure. I love learning. I never want to stop growing, and I never think that I know it all. And I always remain open and teachable. And when you come at life with that attitude, and you look at each challenge as an opportunity to make it work for you, then you're going to gain that insight and that wisdom and that knowledge and really enjoy your life.
Well, I totally agree with this. And I must say we have lots of in common, and people I'm recently meeting. And it's interesting how new opportunities are just born, and how we kind of flowing. We never know what's gonna be tomorrow. We never know what's gonna be in a year. So Michelle, do you have any long-term visions, plans for next 5, maybe even 10 years? Would you use some kind of goal writing or some kind of vision board? What's your practice?
Yeah, well, there's many. Eventually, I would like to write a book. I feel like there's a few more chapters that I want to put in my life before I do that. I plan to do some traveling between now and the next year, internationally. I love exotic places, islands where a lot of spiritually minded, creative, entrepreneurial people that are focused and really wanting to create a difference in the world flock to. So I am going to be doing speaking events at these places, retreats, connecting with people in a physical location, in addition to online virtually. and releasing a program. And I'm not sure beyond that. I don't like to plan too far out because a lot of the times things end up happening better than what I ever thought could be possible. But I know that by following my inner guidance that the right people show up and the right opportunities show up. So that's where I'm at today.
Very good, very good. So I think we had plenty of interesting ideas and questions answered. Um, I would be definitely looking forward to more chats with you. And
Yeah, likewise. I had a lot of fun.
would you be up for that?
Absolutely.
Would
Yeah.
our listeners be definitely happy to hear some of more wisdom?
Totally. Let me know. Let me know. And as far as staying in contact, I do have a gift series that if you go to my website and you opt in, it'll take you through getting some audios and videos that'll help you to start to have shifts around your limiting beliefs and getting into better routines and habits, and then how that then plays into your business and being able to package up your services and your offerings and really being able to charge for all this experience that you have in your life now. Sorry about the noise. We've got...
It's a raw. This is
here,
the
okay,
life. This is the
yeah.
life.
I mean, I don't mind. We call them keikis, which is the Hawaiian word for kids, and they're having fun over there. They're building something, so it's just part of the life,
Well,
over here. Beautiful,
that's how
gorgeous.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm gonna share the link to your website into this video, and
Great.
anybody who be interested can contact you directly. I only can say you helped me so much you don't even imagine, because it's such a simple advice, or just by asking the right questions, you self-realize actually the self-limiting patterns. And then, I mean, when you have that someone who believes in you, who actually doesn't accept your self-limiting beliefs, they encourage you, and even as a placebo, but it creates the momentum, it creates this fire. It's like a spark, and then if you're ready, if you have enough gasoline in it, it starts to ignite.
Absolutely. Yeah, we all need somebody to believe in us, and there are many times that I didn't believe in myself, and my mentors and coaches helped me to reconnect to that inner creative spark of mine, because sometimes our light can go out and people can rekindle that and bring that fire back and that passion, and then we can help others. So totally agree.
Well, beautiful. Listen, Michelle, thank you very much.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, and hopefully talk to you very soon.
Yes, likewise. Enjoy over there in Dublin, and we'll connect soon.
Yeah, ciao, aloha.
Aloha.